Today, we're diving into a really powerful story. It's about transformation, about the huge, sometimes impossible-seeming gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's the story of a man who just flat-out refused to quit. So let's just get right to it. Look at this. On one side, you have a delivery driver stranded with a broken bike, feeling totally beaten down. And on the other, a successful business owner stepping into a luxury SUV. And here's the kicker. This isn't two different people. This is the same man, with 5 years of pure grit separating these two pictures.
So, the big question is, how? How did he do it? How do you possibly get from point A to point B like that? Well, that's exactly the journey we're about to unpack.
Okay, so let's rewind. Our story really begins with a dream. A dream Daniel would see every day, literally, through the glass of a fancy car showroom. But, the reality on his side of that glass, it was a whole different world. This was his life, day in, day out, pedaling a beat-up bike through the cold, miserable London rain, just trying to make ends meet. He had this big dream, yeah, but from where he was standing, it felt like it was on another planet.
And this number 5, it's really important to remember, because this whole transformation we're talking about, it wasn't a lottery ticket, it wasn't some get-rich-quick scheme, it was a 5-year journey.
In every story like this, there's always a turning point. A moment where you either completely fall apart or you find a way to break through. For Daniel, that moment came on the side of a cold, dark road. After another long, brutal day, he was just done. Completely and utterly exhausted. And not just tired legs, he was emotionally and spiritually drained. And then, as if on cue, his bike breaks. The one thing he needed to make a living just gives out on him. He was literally stuck, stranded. And right there, sitting on that curb, that feeling of being stranded just morphed into something so much heavier, pure hopelessness.
He actually said this out loud to himself. Maybe this is it. And that's the voice of defeat, isn't it? That's the moment the dream almost flickered out for good. I think a lot of us know what that feels like.
But then, something kind of incredible happened. A stranger, a businessman, pulls over. And he doesn't give Daniel money. He gives him something way more valuable. He gives him this single piece of advice. Just let that sink in for a second. Your situation is temporary. Your mindset is permanent.
Wow. And that right there was the spark. That one little conversation completely shifted something inside Daniel. Suddenly, it wasn't about the broken bike anymore. It was about fixing his own thinking.
And this is the crucial part. He didn't just go home feeling inspired for an hour. He went home and made a hard decision, drew a line in the sand. No more excuses. No more "I'll start tomorrow." The waiting was officially over.
So what did he do? Well, it wasn't magic. It was a really simple, repeatable plan. He started using his nights to learn practical skills online, anything he could get his hands on. He became ridiculously disciplined with his money, saving every single pound he could. He picked up extra shifts. And look at step 4. This is so important. Fail and get stronger. He actually built failure into the process. He knew it was coming and he decided to use it as fuel. Then just repeat.
So, okay, he's got the new mindset, he's got the plan. But now comes the part nobody likes to show on Instagram. The long, difficult, boring, day in, day out work that happens between making the decision and reaching the goal.
This timeline really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Progress wasn't this meteoric rise. It took 2 solid years of him studying at night before he could even land a basic entry-level job. 2 more years after that of learning the ropes, saving like a maniac, and building contacts before he felt ready to start his own small online business. This wasn't a jump, it was a slow, steady climb.
And that brings us here, to the payoff. This is that beautiful moment where the mindset, the hard work, and just the sheer passage of time, they all finally come together.
Remember where we started? Daniel, outside that showroom, looking in at a symbol of a life he was convinced he could never have. And here's the punchline to the whole story. 5 years later, he wasn't looking at it anymore. He walked in, bought that car, and drove it home. He didn't just get the prize, he became the kind of person who could earn it. And there it is, in his own words. This is the whole point. The stuff on the outside, the business, the car, that was all just a result of the real change, which happened inside his own head the day he decided his mindset was the one thing he could control.
So what's the big lesson here? What can we all learn from Daniel? It kind of boils down to these 4 things. It all starts with your mindset. That's the bedrock. But a great mindset is useless without consistency, to showing up every single day. You have to accept that failure is just part of the game. It's how you learn. And all of it, every single bit, is held together by that simple, ridiculously hard idea, just don't quit.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. Daniel's story proves that our situation, no matter how bad it feels, is temporary. The real question for all of us is, what are we going to choose to make permanent? Our excuses or our effort? Our doubt or our determination? That's